And this is an entry, a story by Brandon Bolter.
Dude, you have tons of chins.
And I have more chins than Chinatown.
More chins than Brandon.
More chins than Brandon. And this is from Brandon, called A Very Robbie Christmas. 'Tis the night before Christmas, and all through the house not a creature was stirring, save Rob and his mouse. While all other children lay asleep, snug for the night, awake Robbie did linger, visiting fan-fiction sites. For hours he clicked, heedless of time, for what matters the clock to someone online? Deep in own little world Robbie was in, to the point that outside sounds to his ear were just wind. So ignored he did the hooves of 8 tiny deer. The sound of a rooftop sleigh did fall on deaf ears. So enthralled Robbie was in horse-themed debauchery that he didn't realize Santa was here, and getting quite crotchety. So on the roof Kris Kringle was waiting, for things were amiss, for by some quirk of fate had Rob made the nice list. So bound Santa was, by his holy Christmas oath, he had to give Rob a gift, even if he was considering unworthy by most. But here is where things hit a slight snag. The fool would not sleep, no matter how long the night dragged. So there Santa paced, wondering how long he could wait. He had more deliveries to make on this most important date. It was then that an idea entered his mind. To do what he could, not himself, some help he would find. To reveal himself to children was a thing to avoid, but to someone who did not believe, well, that rule was null and void. So he looked all around, an ally he found. All he began his great search, who did he spy? Why, Ninja Ramon, whose hair hard to hide. So Santa did bound from the roof with a swoosh, and asked aid of Ramon, who was hid in a bush. Agreed he did, quickly before Santa's plan was embellished, for the chance to cause pain was something our Nanja did relish. So the Rob heard something even he could not ignore, for Ninja Ramon had suddenly kicked down in the door. Frozen with fright, Robbie could not even yell, as Ramon charged in, knife raised to send Rob to hell. But thankfully for Rob, Santa could not help but jump in. With a swift palm strike to the chest, Saint Nick yanged Ramon's yin. With a grumble, Santa looked at his fallen would-be helper. With a stern stare, he said, this with a glower. What were you thinking? You were to help, not make things worse. I wanted him asleep, not in a hearse. So Santa then sighed, resigned that this was fate. He had to get this done quick, lest his other deliveries be late. To make up for his blunder, Santa Claus made Robbie a deal. Name any Christmas wish, and I'll grant it with zeal. At this, Robbie's eye did open up wide. Anything he wanted, he knew just the thing, and said it with pride. I have my wish, something I want more than all in the world. For Christmas, dear Santa, I want to be a little girl. Santa barked at this odd wish, quick taken back, but he honored his word. Weird as the wish was, he could not take it back. So with a grand gesture, Father Christmas did use his magic. He would finish now what the black arrow started on that distant day that was tragic. This was something to Roberta was worth much more than just money. For now in public he could, at least, play with his ponies. But that was not all. As Ramon saw Roberta skip merrily a long way, her joy made him at least question his pain worshipping away. Deep in his chest he felt a feeling like nothing before. His small, cold heart surged as if to a super Saiyan 4. And Santa then shrugged, a smile on his face. His work was now done, so he could at last leave this place. So he hitched up his sleigh and called out in a mid-flight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. And that is
That was pretty
by
good.
Brandon. That was actually very good, actually. That was very, I like the rhyming, and it was very clever, and actually worked with the people involved.
Right. See, so fast.
And second one, I'll read mine, and then I'll read Tony's. Mine, this is about, here's Brandon Bolter in the story. So that's what Brandon Bolter looks like. Keep that in mind.
He's so sexy.
He's so sexy and buff, too. He works out a lot, by the way.
That's real Brandon there.
That is. And this is the typed version and then the written out version. A Dreamy Christmas. A skinny young man with curly black hair named Robbie is walking down a country road with a goofy smile and singing to himself, "I'm Sexy and You Know It" by LMFAO, despite it being December and 31 Fahrenheit outside. Robbie says, "I'm so great." All of a sudden, bam! Robbie trips and falls into the middle of a country road, and he stares like a deer in headlights as a MCA truck is speeding towards him at 65 miles per hour. But luckily, a tall, blonde man, picture done by Aegis 261, by the way, tall, blonde man named Brandon sweeps down to save Robbie right before the truck would have made reindeer sausage out of him. Robbie in tears. "Thank you, kind sir." Brandon wipes the tears from Robbie's eyes. Brandon says, "Don't worry, young man. You're safe now." Robbie puts his head on Brandon's robust chest and then wraps his arms around the big guy. Brandon says, "Don't hug me. Now let's walk." Brandon and Robbie then walks down the country road until they stop to stare at a Christmas tree that stands 10 feet tall with an angel placed on top. As they continue to stare, they hear a boom sound. 3 ninjas dressed in black jump out of the tree. The name of the ninjas are Ramon, Alex, and Diego. Ramon says, "We want money, big boy." Robbie intercepts. Robbie says, "Don't call Brandon big boy, you little boy." Ramon